All right, guys, welcome to the show today where I'm going to feature Sunwoo from California. So, haven't gone live before on YouTube, so this is a bit of a test, so please stay with me. Sunwoo is not in the studio at the time due to the virus, but we are going to have him patch in over Zoom. So stay tuned for that. But I'm just going to go ahead and check my phone and see how live we actually are. I'm using Ecamm Live, which is pretty interesting. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is sign into a different YouTube account. There we go. I'm live. Wow. Live stream. Wonder how I can change the name of it. Let's hear what the quality sounds like. Wow, that sounds great. Wow. That's great that we're live now. That sounds really, really good. So, um all right, guys. So, if you are just now making it in here, I want to welcome you to my page. It really has been quite a significant amount of time getting to this point, but great gains come to those who wait. So if you're patient, if and don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of instant gratification. That's one of the greatest parts about editing or photography, getting that reaction out of that artist, and to really being able to have that creative process. But I digress. So we're waiting on Sunwoo, but this is a little bit of a pre-show podcast to figure out a little bit more of Ecamm now. In the perfect world, I would have an idea of the show title field for Facebook. Um, well, if you guys have anything that you would like to talk to me about, please leave it in chat. Really looking forward to reading that. I guess I'm going to have to pull it up on my phone. I'm going to turn it down though. There we go. Here we go. A little inception here. So there are 0 commenters, so we're good. And I'm the one viewer. I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, I've got to look for comments, but there are none. All right. I also got to edit this right here, guys. So that's one of the coolest parts about Ecamm. Now, you guys can't see this, but I'm changing these ats over here. Stonelick. All right, guys. Sorry for the dead air. Wonder if it's going to let me delete this. All right. So Sunwoo has shared it, and he said that he's on his way in. Now, with Ecamm, after I saw the product that I just shot myself, I noticed a little bit of choppiness, but the quality looks really great. So I want to apologize right up front in the beginning that this was something that live. Okay. Um, I hope once I finish, it's all recorded. That's the only thing I'm scared about. So I may. Okay. Well, I think I'm recording, hopefully simultaneously. And if not, YouTube will hopefully save the file after I finish it anyways. So, like I told Sunwoo, this is a little bit of a test. May go horribly wrong, so this is your disclaimer now for anybody that's watching, including possibly Sunwoo now. Um, just waiting him to join. Okay, let me see. All right, so we've got 3 people in the chat. Want to welcome you to the Total Potential Podcast. Really a big pleasure. Wish I could change the name of the live stream here. I wonder if I can edit it from my page. Let's see. That's the one concern that I have, that I'm not able to edit the page. All right. Okay. All right, great. All right, man, welcome. Okay, let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? What's going on?
Great, man. All right. So, testing out this as I preface it to everyone that this is a bit of a test. You know, if it's not perfect, we can also, shoot it tomorrow, shoot it the next day. We've got a little bit under a week, but I want to go ahead and do a bit of a sound check. So, if you would, please introduce yourself.
What's going on, guys? My name is Sun Woo. Right now, I'm a pretty much amateur fighter. I'm fighting through the organization of Street Beefs, and also I have my band Lucid Pool. I'm a vocalist for that band. Shout out to my boys David, Pablo, Paco, and also everybody who's just straight up supported us.
Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest topic that we scratched on last night, that your whole entire goal of fighting was to promote your music. So I'd also like you to talk a little bit about that.
So yeah, I kind of like saw Street Beefs as an opportunity to go ahead and put my name out there, because like time sort of just slowed down when COVID hit. So we were limited to how much exposure we're able to produce, and lack of production. The only thing I had at the time was just a name. So I just try to like use this opportunity to build this foundation in order to at least like hype it up, so when we do drop something, it's massive. We have enough, of a following and likes to actually get that networking going, to where now
Sure.
we're
Or
expanding. So as soon
also,
as we drop,
without interrupting, but also find someone like me.
yeah, exactly. And you're the best lead I got. Shout out to Drama for linking us up. So
Exactly. And I've been a
post
big fan of
this, we're
Street
going.
Beefs too. That if it wasn't for Street Beefs and me commenting and Drama following up and hitting me up on Instagram, and then us chopping it up and having his pre-fight interview. So primarily today we will talk, about fighting. I want to get, keep your head in the game, and we will have Sunwoo back sometime in December. We have a lot of interesting things coming to the table with him. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe not only to me but also to Sunwoo, and you can find all of our links down in the description below. So you briefly mentioned the people that uh, is your team. Now, what was that inspiration? Was it you did have some history in the past with mixed martial arts, or was it primarily promoting your music, or would you say it's more your martial arts background?
Well, martial arts, because of my family, my dad and his brothers are always into like the fighting thing because they grew up in the streets and stuff. So that's what they did. So that kind of like just grew on to me because growing up, we couldn't be on wings. So what music did for me is me out of a lot of things physically and mentally. Like I was like super into like the fascination of the street thing, and music was my break from being able to like reach myself. So that's why like I kind of with metal, it's like my best source of expression. Like I'm able to like for 30 minutes on stage be myself. Kind of feel like with metal,
And as a
um
vocalist too,
the
we
way
should
you
mention
express
that
it.
you're the vocalist of the band.
Yeah, Son Wu, the vocalist of it's as a vocalist, like it's at the beginning it was nerve wracking because you're the front guy, and if the guitar is messed up, nobody really catches it. If the drummer messes up, nobody really catches it, bassist or whatever. But when you're the vocalist, you gotta hit it. You gotta be on it. If not, yeah, everybody's gonna see it and everybody's gonna feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, coming from that musical background and going into martial arts, talk about your training a little bit and how that has influenced your life.
So going to the beginning, I started off with traditional martial arts because I was you know a hardcore like Bruce Lee fan. So watching Power Rangers and all that, I was just like, man, I got to get me a class. And then my parents at the time, they couldn't afford the classes and stuff. So they put me in football, something a little bit more affordable and lengthy, where they didn't have to really pay like each month, because when you play football, it's just like a one flat rate like payment. So when I became old enough and I got my first job, I turned around and I was like, yeah, I want to do traditional martial arts. And it biased things where I felt like traditional was to me like traditional Israel, but when I evolved and got into MMA, it's a whole different game. Like it's a whole different tier of fighting. Like I have a whole different perspective on myself and for the game. Like me on this level, people have to understand like this thing's a grind, and if you don't got that grind in you, even got that dog in you, it's probably not a sport for you type deal. Because even on the level that I'm at, there are people that I'm around that are on my fighting team, Iron Empire, that train with me, that breathe this stuff. So on my level is like, oh dang, like I'm pretty good. But then when you look at the guys that are around me, it's a whole different game. Like my boy Venom, he just got done. Like I don't know if people are aware of like pro practice.
Yeah, shout out
Like he
Venom.
just got done with his pro practice. Yeah, so like he's advancing, doing really well. My brother Mook, he's also in pursuit of becoming a teacher. So these guys are like gym rats. Like how I am in the studio with my music, how I sit down and write my music all day. They're throwing kicks, exercising, cardio, like doing this thing. Like, the game's a monster, and if you don't have it in you, you just got to find something that like you gotta find something that's on your tier. Like right now, I feel like the street beef thing is on my tier. I feel like down the side, I could go a little further. I could, pursue this. I could, make this a thing. But at the same time, if you put it right next to my music, that's where my heart is. But
Sure, sure.
it's just one of those
And
things
and I
where,
think the other
yeah,
big topic, and I know a lot of the commenters were buzzing about this, was, whether or not you're good or the fight that you had just wasn't good, right? And that what is your true potential, your total potential. And that's, the theme of this podcast, finding folks' total potential. And a lot of times we were talking last night about hip hop, right? Fighting's the same thing.
right.
People are sacrificing their lives to put themselves in a position to gain some sort of generational wealth for their family so they don't have to fight, so they don't have to spit bars. That this is all about,
And then
providing for our family at the end of the day. So the only color I'm prejudiced against is green. I'm a big fan of green. That green's my favorite color. I'm prejudiced in the best way against green.
Yeah.
I have a green screen studio. As long as it's green, I'm green is go for me. I want everybody to work together.
And money,
And at the end of the day, if
you're
you're not
reaching.
making money, I'm not going to make money. And if not, I'm nickeling and diming you, and you're
Exactly.
broke. What's that going to benefit me? So, what can I do to help you? And I think we had a pretty great conversation last night about it. So that was a little bit
Yeah,
of an
we
intro.
busted
What I'm going
out.
to do is turn on the lights. I didn't turn on the lights yet, so give me a second. So if you want, promo your different social medias, talk a little bit about yourself while I turn on the lights.
All right, for sure. Like right now, I have my platforms: Instagram at sunwoo underscore lucid pool. You can find me by my government name on Facebook, Rodney Hearn the second. Uh, you guys, if you follow me, you'll figure out that like I'm super into like science. I try not to get too hardcore into politics or anything like that. I'm super
Sure.
into nature and stuff. So like, I'm, just check me out. I got all kinds of interesting topics you guys could peep into. So, see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, guys, this is mostly a test. I'm experimenting. The lights are a little bit bright. I'm going to go ahead and on my software bring down the brightness a little bit and see how it looks. Okay, that looks bad. Okay, I'm going to turn down the lights a little bit, but you can keep on promoting.
So you guys go ahead and keep following our band page, lucid underscore pool, right there on Instagram. We have a EP coming out, but before the EP, we want to make sure that we build a foundation, right? So we want to give you guys the imagery, what we look like, who we are, what we represent, and how we sound. Ultimately. So go ahead and follow us. Be patient with us because, like I said, right now with this COVID thing, we kind of like got held back on a lot of stuff. Right. For a moment, our bandmates, it was just like our band in general was just one of those things where it was a revolving door. We were trying to like figure out who's gonna really like be, with us 100% and really like grind and be on the same level as me and David Rios. And because like right now, like we're on like a business partner method of things, trying to like establish ourselves, create our brand. Which is why I'm talking to like Anthony today. This is all for me, him, and this symbiotic relationship to keep climbing, keep building, and keep
Yeah,
better
and
than
this
what
is
we
something
keep
for a
being
lot of
better than
people
what
to
we are.
hear, and often I'm typically not, I don't want to say I'm against big bands, but I've always looked at it like, well, from a production standpoint, when I've gone on, for example, an Erica Badu show, right? You're looking at $65,000 for a band, for just the equipment. And
Right,
nowadays, you deal with rappers, what sort of band do they really need in a lot of cases, right?
right,
Versus the cost that it takes to develop an entire band. Whether or not it's the Rolling Stones or it's Led Zeppelin or all these different bands, that it costs money, right? But on the other hand, something that I learned last night from our conversation was at the very same time, there's also five different hands to the pile, right? Meaning,
right,
like, you're able to throw in to the pile more money and generate, a bigger buzz because instead of just one income coming to the table, you've got five. And, although initially in the startup stages that helps, long term, obviously it does get a little bit sticky, so it is good. Like, and we were talking last night about paperwork. What do you guys just have verbal agreements to the band, or not saying we want to get too deep on this
yeah,
on
yeah,
live,
yeah, yeah.
but just for those of you out there, coming from the total potential, right? That even if it's, your bandmates, I talked to a gentleman named Alex from Oregon last night, right before I talked, or actually maybe right after I talked to you. And he had been working with a producer, and he said, yeah, I sent him my music, he mixed it, posted it without telling me. And there's a
Really?
lot of different relationships where, without having those split sheets, without having, all of those logistics, all of that paperwork in order. And sure, it may have not been his best work, but what I've also learned from a lot of producers, shout out Li and others, Prodi and Evan and others, that people look at their beats like babies, and that to just, you know, have a child with a band without having some sort of understanding of, once this baby starts making money, or if, because you never know. We talked a little bit last night about Quincy Jones and how him and Michael
Right.
Jackson produced 1,000 songs, and out of the first 20 of them were the majority of the hits. That's the type of mentality that you need to have where, you know, if we're going to develop a band, we've got to develop them 150%. So what are the different things that from our conversation last night that kind of piqued your interest and that you had some time today to think about?
Well, one of the things was becoming more production savvy. Like definitely like getting like under your wing and like picking your brain on like how this production thing really works because I look at a lot of these bands. I just want to right the wrongs. Like everything. Like I'm the type of dude I am. Like I could look at you and learn. Just from watching type deal. So a lot of these bands they try to hold on to just being the band. I want to be able to like be a band, branch off directing, branch off production, branch off visual production, things like that. So like the conversation that we had last night really played with my appetite for getting into the industry because now like these doors are opening up and I'm able to try to like get in and establish myself even on a more broader scan, so to speak. So I had this like even with this band, I'll give you guys like some history. Like even with this band, like it literally just started off with a name. It took me a year just to find like members. This first guy, his name was Nick, good buddy of mine. He helped me out. He was a bass player, and he helped me pick it up. And from there, David Reels came in, and David Reels, he was a high school friend, and he was a like what's funny is that's why I tell people just reach out because you never know. Like he was the last person on my list that I ever thought he would like come around and like help me,
Well, and I
and
think,
now here we are.
it's a thousand ways how not to do something. And I think
Right.
that's the book that I need to read the right, full non-disclosure agreements to everybody, don't steal my idea, but I need to write some sort of thousand ways how not to do something like, and you were talking about media, getting more media savvy with your Nikon, as basic as, how do you use your camera as a webcam? Three
Right.
easy steps. Because guess what? This is your first media experience, and, there is room to improve. Everybody has room to reach their total potential. And, that will be our first goal for you, Sunwoo, would be to, getting your Nikon connected to your laptop and, improving your brand. So then when we do set up other interviews in the future, you'll be more prepared, right? And what this
Right.
really is media training. By no means am I a fight commentator by any means. I am not Joe Rogan, right? So consider me Jamie. As much as Jamie knows about fighting, I may probably know far less. I'm not really, a big fight fan in a sense, but similarly to skateboarding or other things, I definitely think that it takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of dedication, and it takes a different sort of risk by a different group of people that are not only risking their financial well-being but also taking their lives and their families' lives into their own hands. That you can never know
Yeah.
what's going to happen, and not just that, but look at Muhammad Ali. Look at other people with CTE. That one thing that I can't really co-sign is football, in a sense. That
Right.
my heart. That there's Pee Wee football kids that there has been biopsies, and that Pee Wee 8-year-old kids have CTE, brain damage at Pee Wee football,
And
right? And just imagine what you guys are doing. That I was a part of
right,
an event called
the
Punching
face.
for Peace, right? Where like, people want to get, fight instead of, similar to street beefs, right? Where instead of,
Yeah,
killing people, you fight it out, right? But,
right.
the trouble with that is you're fighting for CTE and then everybody's going to be brain damaged and it's not even, what's the purpose of that? Like I could see like, uh, I don't know. I mean, what do you think is the solution? That it is sad in a sense that whether or not it's hip hop or fighting, that it is putting you at a significant physical risk.
Well, that's the thing. Like from my perspective, like all right. So it really depends on where your heart is and what you want with me because
How bad you
like
want it?
I like
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah
Yeah,
I like my brain. Like I like to be articulate. Like I like to, express myself. I like to be able to, put words together like I do. So I find like that aspect of myself to be the most precious. So I want to protect that. So that's why like I feel like in this game is not really for me. But you have people like Muhammad Ali who did it all the way to the end, knew the risk, knew what was going on. Mike Tyson, you hear Mike Tyson talk about this fighting thing,
yeah, new
and it's
fight.
it's realistic, and it's just like he breathes this stuff and he's
Yeah,
willing to like die for this. And then a lot of people don't realize a lot of these fighters that are coming up from street beefs to UFC, they don't have a lot of options in their life. They don't have a lot
exactly,
of
exactly.
uh a lot to go on. So this is all they have. And then, maybe if, on a level of society, if, we cared, or if we like produce more opportunity where people didn't feel like this is all they had,
Yeah,
maybe, that would be one of the solutions.
sure.
But until then, like this is like growing up in San Bernardino, I understand like between my cousins, my dad, you had to survive. Like you had to do it. So like if you didn't want to do the gang thing or you got a felony, you don't have any like options, like this is an opportunity for them to get out of that. But what I would say for people who think that's their only choice, like do your networking, create relationships as you're building your fighting thing. Build your relationship so you could do 5 years of fighting and turn around and be an actor, turn around and be a businessman, turn around and be, what we're trying to be,
Yeah,
what we're trying to
Brandon
proclaim.
Schaub, Cormier, they're all commentators now. And that's what I was suggesting to Drama, and that's what I was suggesting to you. That, and I don't want to take anything away from Street Beefs or anything like that.
Right,
But it is good to be self-aware, right? That, and
right.
Joe Rogan brings it up too. That is self-aware. That fighting isn't the greatest thing for your health. But, and I'm not sitting here trying to give anybody a hard time. This is a free country. There's free will. But from a friend standpoint, similarly to what I told you last night, similarly to what Joe Rogan told Brandon Schaub, that, hey man, I love you. I want you to be okay. And I think that that is a sentiment that can't hurt anybody. And I hope that you're safe. Um, Working with Street Beefs, and that it's in Vegas. So if you want to talk a little bit about that, where it's at, who you may be fighting, who else is on the ticket, a little bit about that.
Can you give me 1 sec real quick? Just one
Okay,
sec.
no problem. All right, guys. So I just wanted to say very briefly that if you haven't, please subscribe. You can definitely check out mine as well as Sun Wu's content down in the description. I'm sorry if there's any technical issues, although the quality of the audio and visuals do look great. I do apologize if there's any skipping. This is a live streamed podcast, the Total Potential podcast, and I'm Anthony Marshall, your host. So, how you feeling, man?
Back in action. So
Great.
going back to the Vegas thing, I don't know exactly where the next fight is going to be, but it's going to be in Vegas, and we're doing it is they like to keep things discreet, so it's a to be announced type deal,
Nice, nice.
and
That's low key. That's cool.
yeah. So
But it's in
another
Vegas.
thing, I don't even know who my opponent is.
Yeah.
Yes, I would,
Yeah, it's
Anthony.
in Vegas, just in general. Or is that not public knowledge?
Yeah. No, it's public knowledge. It isn't Vegas.
Okay,
They have to know
because
what
like
state we're going
talk a
in.
little bit about how originally you guys had the first setup in San Bernardino with the straw and different background, and now you guys will be starring in Vegas, correct?
Yeah. So they were trying to establish a decent location on where to start off, and my brother Red Reaper offered his home, and they had did it there, which was a phenomenal event. Like I love like the energy, I love the crowd, the environment, just the way it looked, the palm trees and all that. Like I go back and look at it now, and it's like one of those things where it's just like holy snap, like that was like something cool. But I think overall they made it Vegas because a lot of the management are out there. A lot of
Yeah.
the judges are out there, so they wanted to make it their home base of operations. So I get where they're coming from with that. So that's not a huge thing. Even though I would love for it to have been like a San Bernardino thing, because there's a lot of people that could use that opportunity to like get out of a lot of like nonsense around here. And like right now, like I'm trying to get my cousin in. He has he has potential as a fighter, and I want to see him do that. Like even if I don't do the fighting thing, I want him to pick off where I left off. Let's say like I stopped fighting after my eighth or 10th fight, or what have you.
No, and that's what we talked about last night, that if, you want to get behind your music, but you still want to be a part of fighting. And, personally, from my own opinion, I'd like to, not train, but, that's a big part of it too, promotion, right? And if
Yeah.
you are in a position to be trained by me to be able to create that promotion, we can build your gym.
Right. If that like you said, like if that was the case. But going into my opponent, I don't even know who I'm fighting, but I'm excited. Like I already told myself, like I don't know what tier this fighter is going to be on. It's a total mystery box for me, but I'm gonna just treat it like homeboy is going to be in there trying to kill me. So whatever level he's on, hopefully he could keep up. I'm gonna be up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just like take it
do you
as
have
it is,
any
man.
words for him? Because there's a non-existent face-off with a blank box.
Oh, just be ready. Like I'm coming. Like it's
Hide your
gonna be sick.
kids. Hide your
Hide your kids, hide your wife. I'm coming. It's just like, and then like you know, uh, just like going into the last guy I fought, Blackout. Like I went in there, we're 1-0, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I just knew that I was in a fight, and I wasn't planning. So with him, going back into the question,
That
I
was a
think
first round
like
knockout too, right?
like the first 40, 30 seconds, somewhere around there. And with him, I felt like on average he could handle the best of them, like on a civilian level. There's a lot of people that kind of like downplay the skills in the comments on this video, but don't sleep on nobody, because you don't know what their like why we're here. You don't know what their potential is going to be. And with him, uh, it was like it was a thing that a lot of people don't understand. Like everybody goes in there thinking they're gonna just whoop somebody's ass until you get punched in the face, and then that first punch in the face, me, I understand. Like I like to fight, so I've been fighting, so I'm used to the adrenaline. I'm used to the pressure. So with that being said, I already went in there ready. He wasn't sure. He wasn't sure until he got touched. And then when he got touched, reality set in. He waited too long for reality set in, and it was already too late. And I had him where I wanted him. So it wasn't that he was a horrible fighter. I will say it was a bad fight on my end because I didn't really get to showcase too much. I didn't really get to portray the extent of my training. So like as a fight, it was par, and I get why I didn't get so many views and things like that. But I'm hoping like whoever comes in next just try to kill me.
Were there any other
like
first round knockouts as quickly as that?
yes, my brother Mook, he got an 8-second knockout, and then Shinigami got a I think it was like a Yeah, about the same 8-second
Yeah,
knockout,
because I mean,
head
that's
kick.
the biggest shout out to Street Beefs that, I watched dramas, I watched Venoms, I watched yours, but when they post videos, they post about 30 of them in the span of 2 days. And it's just like, you know, to a certain point, it's like, how much can you really watch, you know? And especially from my
Yeah,
side too, where, I'm not really analyzing anybody. And it is an interest in me, like, mostly, to talk a little bit about my background if you have any questions for me. But I like the business side. That's what really intrigues me.
yeah.
The pay-per-view,
So
working with
we were talking
ViewStub as I
last
am
night.
a virtual pay-per-view service. Big shout to ViewStub. You can find my affiliate link down in the description. We're very happy for them being a sponsor of the podcast as well as the studios. So big shout to ViewStub. And I could see hosting a Street Beefs pay-per-view event. If anybody's listening, Scarface, if we chop this up, I would like to host in my studio a Street Beefs pay per view event, whether or not it's $5 a ticket or otherwise, a drive in or in person, virtually. Uh, I've got a 3,600 square foot building, about a 30-foot by 60-foot green screen room, as well as a live audience Studio B, which is
Take this
similar to the
opportunity, baby.
size in a third office slash monitor room, and we own the dirt. So whatever we want to do, similar to you and in your backyard, but it just happens to be a studio. So this is my message to you guys. Hit me up. Let's do this.
Yeah,
Big
but
moves
like
only.
you
Let's
were talking
get her
about
done. So do you have any questions
pretty
for
much.
me? Any thoughts that you would like to tell anybody? Any shout outs or any feelings that you may have?
No, let me get my shout outs out of the way. Definitely like everybody who's like supported me for sure, for sure. Outside of the fighting, outside of the music, people that just really just want to see me like do something on myself. Nothing but love for you guys, to my followers, the people on my Facebook, just anybody who's just has the same vision that I have, and then see me doing something with it. And also to my big brother Johnny, he got me prepared for my fights. Shout out to Coach Team Ardent, Coach Adam. Appreciate you too, man. I didn't give you your shout out on my first fight, and I want to let you know that like you helped me out a lot. You showed me a lot. And then like shout out to my band, my hardworking band, my people, all everybody that steps on the mat with me and trains with me. Shout out to you guys. You guys made me like way better. Like the what's crazy is the fight that I had, I had the first time. That was only 3 months of like MMA training, just strict MMA training. So these guys are, they're taking me places as far as physically, and as far as like the fight world. So shout out to those guys. But I also wanted to ask, like, you were going into like what you were pursuing in college, and what the spokesman had shedded a light upon you, and what did that do for you? Like what derailed you into a different perspective?
Oh, that's right. I remember when I talked about that. Yeah. That, typically when you're asked, what's your definition of success? Most people would say security. And I wanted to be a little bit
Right.
creative. And I said, well, my definition of success is how many people you're able to help become successful. Because guess what? Anybody can get a basic job, save their money, go to school. But, really, in the grand scheme of things, how many people are you able to help? And at one time, I thought, well, I need to get as much money as I possibly could and then become a philanthropist. But the speaker that came into one of my personal selling classes, while I was going for my business management, got a 3.8 GPA. I digress. But he said that Tony, actually, instead of making a bunch of money and then becoming a philanthropist, through philanthropy and through helping people like, such as yourself, providing this, media experience, that I would be able to network and connect with other like-minded, kind-hearted philanthropists that, maybe uh future or past, or at the end of the day, everybody would hope to help everyone, and I think that is what really was the climax of my life, was realizing that, I didn't have to make money first. That if I put people first, then if I treated someone well, they would hope, or at least I would hope for them to reciprocate. And whether or not they
Right.
reciprocate, or, God, or, Allah, or whatever, you believe in, your
The
spiritual,
universe.
karma, would come back around, because I've treated everybody how I want to be treated, and now I'm just kind of waiting for the world to return the favor. But I'm not expecting it. I'm
It's
not
something, bro. It's tough.
demanding it. That, a quote that not Elon Musk, but Joe Rogan said, that a lot of men live in silent um, desperation. Joey Diaz talked about, people, a lot of folks in California, that it's just constant desperation of people in the entertainment industry. And in most times, a lot of these big film actors that you see, yeah, sure, they may have gotten paid, two or three times, big sums of money, or artists that got, big record deals. But what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of that money has to be paid back to the label, or, is the front to a
They don't understand
project.
that
And
those
if the money
contracts,
didn't come
those are
back to
loans.
it, you're in a place of
Yeah,
desperation where you've got to front to the rest of the world that, oh, well, I'm so and so, and I have to have a house here, and 15 houses here, and 7 cars here. When in reality,
and it's not.
you're in debt to your neck with every, Tom, Dick, and Harry around the street.
Yeah, see, that's what I like. That's what I that's that and that's the thing. I think when I brought it up about getting like just messed over in this industry, because it happens, like it wasn't until recently where I started looking into like how like 360 deals work, where you're uh literally selling your soul. Like you're just selling your image, you're selling your music, you don't own anything. They own you type deal. And then a lot of people don't, look at, like right the wrongs, or look at the history of these things and try to avoid them. Like look at Prince. Prince, when he after he came out with the Slave album, he said enough. Like he was letting us know like there's more to this thing. A
Yeah,
lot of people,
Nippy,
they
Nip,
try
Nip
to get
Hustle,
into.
keeping it in house too.
Exactly. Like that's why like going independent is a struggle. Like you do want the security of, a big label. That is just security. That you're going to be good. Whereas you're trying to build something, you're building it on toothpicks, because you don't know which way is going to sway. And the amount of toothpicks you put under that foundation just is really reflects on how much you're putting in on your dream, on your path. Like what are you doing type deal. That's why like I feel like every single day, if I'm not training, or uh writing a song, or just anything, I feel like I have to be doing something to better myself,
Yeah.
even if it's just gaining
Yeah.
some broader like sense of knowledge type deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for example, like, I never have time to play video games. That I feel selfish for
Same.
watching a movie. Like, I can't, I'm like thriving, like I can't, I'm struggling. And the thing with me is, like, if I'm struggling, I want to be struggling. That it's like you have to embrace that suck and almost make it be a feeling that you enjoy, because in 10 years, or in 5 years, or in 2 years, yeah, the curve may be long, and it may be, but there is a curve. That if you keep on trying, continuing to pursue your dreams, treating people how you want to be treated, don't be threatening. And I talked to you a little bit about this, having the security aspect, be a part of my life. That, I have a lot of, I don't want to say haters, but, haters because they ain't us type of, crowd, where,
That's
I've
how it
helped
is.
people, and I want people to be successful despite their shortcomings, right? And that I have love for
Yeah.
everyone, and I don't want no smoke. I'm a bitch. I'll tell you right now. Like, I do not want to get hurt. I'm not a fan of pain. So
Yeah,
I need, like you were talking about, a Suge
at least
Knight,
you know
right?
your limit.
Or a Dr.
Right.
Dre.
Like at least you understand like your limits. 'Cause a lot of people, they play with a lot of things that they don't realize what they're playing with, and they
Yeah,
get themselves in
threats. Yeah,
situations
because
that
I've
they
been
don't.
threatened,
Like it's not
that
that
it
you think
sucks, like,
that you're a bitch,
from a music
because you know
standpoint.
yourself.
Yeah.
So it's just like for me, like going into it, like going into like the where we're talking about like everything that we're doing, like this is welcome stress. Like when I don't get to sleep at night because I'm doing something I love, that I welcome that stress. Like I don't like I grew so hard to where around me like the petty stuff, like it doesn't even like mess with me no more because I'm so focused.
Yeah.
Like I don't have like issues with like bills or relationship problems keeping me up at night. I got that situated and maintained. The only thing that keeps me up at night is, am I doing enough? Did I put in enough work today? Did I do really good in practice? Did I am I going to go into recording today and have better takes and stuff like that? That's the stuff I stress about now, and that's the stress that that everybody needs. And then going to the hater thing, I want to establish with the people who are listening that don't get discouraged by anything that's coming your way from somebody else, because my perspective on it is like one of those things where like you got people around you that kind of want to be you and like your flame, like it's weird, like when it comes to like the jealousy and the hatred is really love. They like what you do, because if they didn't care about what you did, they wouldn't even bother. So they enjoy what you're doing. It's just that they don't have the ambition to dig deep and change themselves and be on that level. So it's just like, if I can't have that, I'm gonna try to find some way to destroy it. If I can't maintain that, or even put my hand on such levels of accomplishment, then I'm gonna do whatever I can to discourage you, even if it's like sneak dissing. Like I got like I no longer have, like, I feel like I don't even have like actually friends. Like these are like, if it's not my fighting brothers, and if it's not my bandmates, like I don't pay attention too much to the whole like socializing things. Like I got outside of those things, like I got five really good friends that I will give anything up for. They can ask me for whatever, even if I don't got it. Let's scrape it and try to like figure it out, type deal. So you got to keep enough people around you that really support you and will protect you, at all costs, because I'll do the same for those people. Like I'll give you an example. So, not, trying to like kick up any dirt or bring up any sourness. My brother Red Reaper, who was a champ in the Street Beefs organization, he was removed. I'm not going to go into details on why and how, but it was just the fact that he was removed. And, you know, I'm not the type, because I'm trying to protect myself, that I'm going to put, you know, him aside and be like, "Oh, I got nothing to do with him." No, I stepped in when I felt like he was being disrespected. I took that risk. They could have kicked me out when I spoke up. I took that risk, but I did it in such an articulate and diplomatic way that they couldn't be mad, because I put it out there like, "Hey, like, this man is no longer in this organization. Don't disrespect him. Like, this is my brother. Like, I feel for this guy." So when it's only natural that I'm here to defend his name, defend his honor, and if anybody has a problem, like I'll fight in his, I'll fight, in
Well,
his
it's
name.
also
Like I'll like,
drama. I mean, from a Dana White, Joe Rogan perspective, that kind of vitriol is a part of the promotional process, right? At the
right.
moment that you were saying all of that, flashes of promos were going on in my head. Like,
And that's the thing. Like,
like
like I
so
let
and
people know,
so
like, I'm not scared,
returns, the
bro.
return of so and so. Like the pay-per-view event. You know what I'm saying? If it's
Yeah.
like, a pay-per-view event where, someone would want to fight so and so professionally, right?
On a different tier, to where now it's provoking, it's provocative, and it's captivating,
It's a
and people want to
pay-per-view.
see it.
Like we
Yeah.
guarantee, the fighters would get X amount of purses and then they would lose X amount if they were to lose. Everybody would get paid, of course.
Right.
You know. But, we are coming up on the 50-minute mark. I want to thank
Yeah.
you for coming, and we also will feature you post fight, and I'll also do a bit of a reaction of your fight, possibly. Uh,
Sweet.
so definitely stay tuned for that. Once again, if you want to shout out all of your links, that I will for sure list down in the description. So please go ahead and tell the folks once again who you are, who you're fighting for, when you're fighting, and where can people find you?
Well, I'll let y'all know I fight the fight. This shit's fun to me. I do it just because. And go ahead, follow my personal page. Like I said, my government name, Rodney Sean Hearn. The second on for my Facebook, Lucid Pool for Facebook. Also, tune in to our Instagram, Sunwoo underscore Lucid Pool, Lucid underscore Pool. Catch those and keep following Anthony. We're gonna it's gonna evolve. So you guys keep tuning in, keep feeding it, just support. And shout out to you, Anthony. Shout out to the people who helped you build this in order for you to get here. Shout out to
My
my
grandma.
son.
Oma. Shout out Oma.
Hey, my mom. Hey, man, I swear, my mom's my biggest supporter. She's the one. She could get anything I have. She could have it. But
Absolutely. My
yeah,
grandma told me
I
the
enjoyed our
nicest
talk,
thing in the
man.
world last week, that the reason why she's been alive the past few years is to watch my success and to, take care of me and push me to the next level. And she said, Tony, I want you to be equal or better, and that uh, I try my best every day for her and, for you, so I'm taking what I've been, provided and attempting to be as gracious and a philanthropist. So, once
Keep
again,
being a
this
lover,
is
bro.
Anthony Marshall. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And as always, we'll see you. All right, let's see here.